Hello and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. This is episode 433. My name is Emily Rainbow Davis. Thank you for being here with me today. It's crazy out there. Woo! But we proceed as normal. Well, sort of normal. And we're going to talk about art and a residency and ableism and stuff like that today. If you are joining me for the first time, wow, welcome, thank you. What happens is I say a few words, then I read you the blog, and then I'll sing you a song that is related. And I think that is all you need to know. That and welcome. So this one is called, Will This Residency Be Kind? This residency opportunity popped up in my feed. It sounded amazing. A week in a castle with artists from many disciplines on an island off the coast of England? A collaborative exploration and conversation with international artists and the tidal patterns? Yes, please. I could use the magic of a castle and a group process by the water. How do I apply? I was all ready to hit the application button when I noticed the specification that artists be reasonably fit and prepared to be outdoors in all weather. This gave me pause. Not because I don't fit these specifications, I think I probably do. Lord knows I'm out riding in all manner of weather here in NYC, and I can dance for hours. But what do these people mean by reasonably fit? And now that I think about it, why is this residency called a lock-in? Is it because you're trapped in this castle, making punishing art with no means of escape? This residency, which sounded idyllic at first, began to seem like it could be a nightmare. And you never know with these things. They are always a crapshoot. So you have to read between the lines to determine how much between a dream and a nightmare this particular one might be. I wavered between the two for some time. I'm still wavering. In the arts, and particularly the performing arts, you can find some very intense ways of being. In theater, there's a real drive toward giving something your all, toward leaving it all on the table, toward pushing through resistance. In dance, too, the drive is toward working through pain, pushing through injury, dancing until you drop. The show must go on no matter how you feel. Some of this is very satisfying when you lean into it. It feels good to burst through some boundary you thought you could never transcend. I understand the appeal of this muscle-straining approach. It feels good to work hard, and sometimes it feels good to have someone yell at you to get you there. I don't like to work that way myself. I never really have, but I don't really apologize for it anymore. Partly that's my training in the Feldenkrais method, which encourages working smarter and more gently rather than harder. And partly it's age and seeing the consequences of pushing forward in the wrong circumstances. I've learned to say no, to recognize when the "I'll try anything" response might be counterproductive. It's not always welcome, these kinds of choices, but I've learned that no one is going to watch out for me as well as I can, so it's really my responsibility. For example, while I was in residency in Crete, our resident choreographer created a very charming dance piece with a large group of us. After performing it at the art show, another artist wanted to film it at the shore. There was a plan to take our line, dancing, up the hill and then back down again. I took one look at the steep, rocky, uneven path and opted out. I knew that dancing up a hill without being able to carefully find my footing would be a disaster for my newly healing ankle, which I'd turned on a hilly path when I first arrived for the residency. I am not sure-footed even under the best of circumstances. I felt bad for letting the group down, but I also felt very clear that this was not a risk I was willing to take for a few minutes of footage that would probably never be seen. I'm old enough to know when I can push and when I should sit down. Given the choice between risking disappointing someone and risking my body, I choose disappointment. Anyway, this reasonably fit requirement of the residency I was considering concerned me. Not just because of my own disabilities, but because of the ableism that it suggests. It let me know that not only would my chronic migraine self not be welcome, but anyone with any kind of physical disability would not be welcome. And I'm imagining what it would be like for anyone with a mobility aid of any kind showing up at this castle and trying to participate. Someone who felt like fighting that battle might go for it, but I imagine most people have bigger, more prominent battles to fight in this arena. This particular opportunity has told us who they are. Best to believe them and recognize where we and our gentler ways of working might not be welcome. But it is a shame because even people with limitations want to make collaborative work in a castle surrounded by the sea. People of all kinds of fitness and willingness and levels of ability would make complex, interesting work. If they had an artist to use as a wheelchair, for example, it might make it tricky to go out to the beach and play in the sand. But wouldn't finding a way to meet that challenge be a truly creative problem? Wouldn't including everyone, even the people for whom this environment might not be built, make for more interesting and inclusive art? I'm sure it's a beautiful place and an exciting experience. But as much as I'd love to collaborate at a castle, the red flags of pressure, ableism, and unkindness are waving very high on this one. I hope I'm wrong and that all the artists who go there have a marvelous, inspiring, and productive time. I was tempted, but my first priority for myself is kindness. For a while, I had a sticker on my computer that asked, "Is this kind to you?" And that's how I decided what to do. This opportunity, I realize now, would not be kind to me. Romantic, rugged, maybe inspiring, but I doubt it would be kind. It may be obvious that I started to write this because I did not know what to do about this residency. I think, it was so appealing in so many ways, and I was having this kind of intense struggle of can't you take a risk anymore? It could be great. You should go do it. Why? What's wrong with you? Dumb self-talk. And then I had to basically write this to realize no. No, this is not the risk to take right now. And, I think a lot of residencies, people know someone who went there so they can speak to what the actual experience is like. And that is a helpful way to approach these things, I think. But I had never heard of this residency before. It sounds so cool, but it also could be terrible. And you're trapped there because you're on an island from which there is no escape. It's on the Jersey Island, and it's in an island that's surrounded by tides, and the tides come in and come out. So you can only get there at certain times, and I don't know. That just sounds whoa. That's. I feel it's good to know that you can leave a place. Maybe that's why they call it a lock-in, which I also was troubled by. I feel I've only heard of lock-ins when it comes to youth groups and churches, which is troubling. Anyway, I decided not to apply, in case you were wondering. But I hope that someone I know does go do it, because I would like to know about it. So, go check it out if that sounds like something you would definitely like to do. I am not in that kind of space, but someone might be. But in addition to my own kind of concerns and question of whether or not to apply to this thing, I did feel this experience of wondering whether to push through something or take this kind of risk or I don't know, try something crazy. Like that struggle can be a really sticky one for artists who are trying to take care of themselves. And I thought it might resonate with some people. So, what song do I have for you? Well, I looked up songs about castles because the part of the appeal of this place is that it's in a pretty cool looking castle on an island off the coast of England. Seems nice. Castle. It's a castle. So I looked up songs about castles. And there are not as many as I expected. But I discovered one that I hadn't heard before by Halsey, who I was only familiar with because she came and spoke at the Women's March in New York in 2018. And at the time, they're like, welcome, Halsey. And my friend and I were like, who? Which apparently I just looked her up recently, and she was like named one of the 100 most influential people in 2020. So, I'm obviously way out of the loop. Please enjoy laughing at me, Halsey fans, and everyone who knows these things, because I had not been aware of her. Anyway, this song is called Castle, and it's about a castle. And so I learned it, and I've had some fun with it. And it also feels like exactly the right song for the current moment here in the United States, because it's about a woman headed to the castle to take it over. And boy, it feels like the castle has been taken over by some crazies. And now we have to storm the castle to get it back. That's what it feels like. So this song feels particularly right for the moment. Is it the most interesting song in the world? I don't think it is. But I had some fun playing with it, which I think because it's fairly simple, I messed around with it a little bit and had some fun. So I'm going to play that for you in just a minute. Meanwhile, thank you so much for listening. If you like this podcast, please tell someone about it. Like, review, subscribe. If you'd like to support it with money, that would be amazing. Patreon.com/Emily R. Davis is top spot. There's also PayPal. There's Ko-fi. You could do a paid subscription on Substack. If there's another platform that you prefer to support artists at which you prefer to support artists, please let me know what it is and I'll get on it. So happy to do that. And mostly I thank you all for listening. Just, the gift of your attention is very important and meaningful. Thank you. So I now give you Halsey's Castle. Sick of all these people talking, sick of all this noise, tired of all these cameras flashing, sick of being poised. Now my neck is open wide, begging for a fist around it, already choking on my pride, so there's no use crying about it. I'm headed straight for the castle. They want to make me their queen, and there's an old man sitting on the throne there saying that I probably shouldn't be so mean. I'm headed straight for the castle. They've got the kingdom locked up, and there's an old man sitting on the throne there saying I should probably keep my pretty mouth shut. I'm going straight to the castle. All of these minutes passing, sick of feeling for the castle. They wanna make me their queen. And there's an old man sitting on the throne there, saying that I probably shouldn't be so mean. I'm headed straight for the castle. They got the kingdom locked up. And there's an old man sitting on the throne there, saying I should probably keep my pretty mouth shut. There's no use crying about it. There's no use crying about it. There's no use crying about it. There's no use crying. I'm headed straight for the castle. They want to make me their queen. And there's an old man sitting on a throne there, saying that I probably shouldn't be so mean. I'm headed straight for the castle. They got the kingdom locked up. And there's an old man sitting on the throne there, saying I should probably keep my pretty mouth shut. I'm headed straight for the castle. They want to make me their queen. And there's an old man sitting on the throne there, saying that I probably shouldn't be so mean. I'm headed straight for the castle. They got the kingdom locked up. And there's an old man sitting on the throne there, saying I should probably keep my pretty mouth shut. I'm headed straight for the castle.